Good morning. Hello, twin sister over on the YouTube side. So it is Saturday, which means it is AA day. I can't get my laptop or my phone to stand upright for some reason. Hopefully that will stay. Give me a minute, guys. Sorry. All right, let's see if that'll work. Oh, man. It's not my morning. Stay, just like that. So I just want to set a couple of rules. Please, no judgment, no harassment. Be kind to each other in the chats. And just remember that just because you're in the chat doesn't mean that you are the alcoholic or the recovering alcoholic. You may be a supporter of my channel, or you may be a person that wants to learn ways to help a family member or loved one, friend, or whatever to get sober. So you're all welcome here, no matter what you look like, your gender, your race, your marriage status. Doesn't matter. You're all welcome here. So, on that note, my name is Sandra, and I'm an alcoholic. I decided to start doing these meetings to help the alcoholics who still suffers, and to help new people coming in and the old timers who come in and just want to be here and listen and be part of a group if you can't get out and make it to a meeting. So I feel blessed and grateful that I have these two platforms that I can share my journey on and help others with my story and my sobriety. So with that, I'm going to say the Serenity Prayer and then get into the steps, and then we will go over onto the big book. I always put down in the description under my video, if you're watching a replay, it has the description down there right under the video, and it should say more. And I always put in the page we're on, the book we're reading, and the story of the spot we're reading. So thank you for being here, and I'm going to get started. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Step 1. We admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. 2. Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. 3. Made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. 4. Made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. 5. Admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. 6. We're entirely ready to have God remove all these defective characters. 7. Humbly asked Him to remove our shortcomings. 8. Made a list of all persons we had harmed and become willing to make amends to them all. 9. Made direct amends wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10. Continue to take personal inventory, and when wrong, promptly admit it. 11. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. 12. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. So we are reading the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. You can get these books anywhere that books are sold pretty much. I know you can get them from Amazon. I'm not affiliated with them or sponsored by them, but you can get them from Amazon. Um, you can check them out at the libraries. Go to a local meeting and they probably have them. So this is my third or fourth set of books because when I have a new person come in, um, that I that I can relate to mostly, um, mostly my sponsees. I give them a book, and so because that's what my sponsor did for me. She gave me my first book, both of my first books, I should say, and so yeah, that's just a gift that I can give um, in person. So we are on page 301 in the fourth edition of the big book. If you don't have a book, don't worry, I'm gonna read it anyways. And when I get done, I will let you tell some of what um, what I am impacted with the most out of the chapter. This one is Physician, Heal Thyself. Psychiatrist and surgeon, he had lost his way until he realized that God, not he, was the great healer. I am a physician licensed to practice in a western state. I am also an alcoholic. In two ways, I may be a little different from other alcoholics. First, we all hear AA meetings about those who have lost everything, those who have had or who have been in jail, those who have had or who have been in prison, those who lost their families, those who have lost their income. I never lost any of it. I never was a skid row. I made more money in the last year of my drinking than I made in my whole life. My wife never hinted that she would leave me. Everything I touched from grammar school on was successful. I was president of my grammar school student body. I was president of all my classes in high school. And in my last year, I was president of the student body. I was president of each class in the university and president of that student body. I was voted the man most likely to succeed. The same thing occurred in medical school. I belonged to more medical societies and honor societies than men to mention. To 20 years my senior. I need a drink of my soda. Sprite. I'm not affiliated by them or sponsored by them. Mine was the skid row of success. The physical skill physical skid row in my city is miserable. The skid row of success is just as miserable. The second way is in which perhaps I differ from some other alcoholics is this. Many alcoholics state that they don't particularly like the taste of alcohol, but that they liked the effect. I loved alcohol. I used to like to get it on my fingers so I could lick them and get another taste. I had a lot of fun drinking. I enjoyed it immensely. And then one day that I can't recall, I stepped across the line that alcoholics know so well. And from that day on, drinking was miserable. When a few friends when a few drinks made me feel good before I went over that line, those same drinks now made me rich. In an attempt to get over that feeling, there was a quick onslaught of a greater number of drinks, and then all was lost. Alcohol failed to serve that purpose. On the last day I was drinking, I went up to see a friend who had had a good deal of trouble with alcohol and whose wife had left him a number of times. He had come back, however, and he was on this program. In my stupid way, I went up to see him with the idea in the back of my mind that would investigate Alcoholics Anonymous from a medical standpoint. Deep in my heart was the feeling that maybe I could get some help here. This friend gave me a pamphlet, and I took it home and had my wife read it to me. There were two sentences in it that struck me. One said, "Don't feel that you are a martyr because you stopped drinking." And this hit me between the eyes. The second one, "Don't feel like you stopped drinking for anyone other than yourself." And this hit me between the eyes. After my wife had read this to me, I said to her, as I had said many times, in desperation, I have got to do something. She's a good natured soul and said, "I wouldn't worry about it. Probably something will happen." And then we went up the side of a hill where we have a little barbecue area to make the fire for the barbecue. And on the way up, I thought to myself, I'll go back down to the kitchen and refill this drink. And just then something did happen. The thought came to me, this is the last one. I was well into the second fifth by this time. And as that thought as that thought came to me, it was as though someone had reached down and taken a heavy overcoat off my shoulders, for that was the last one. About 2 days later, I was called by a friend of mine from Nevada City. He's a brother of my wife's closest friend. He said, "Earl," and I said, "Yes." He said, "I'm an alcoholic. What do I do?" And I gave him some idea of what you do. And er, so I made my first 12-step call before I ever came into the program. The satisfaction I got from giving him a little of what I had read in those pamphlets far surpassed any feeling that I had ever had before in helping patients. I decided that I would go to my first meeting. I was introduced as a psychiatrist. I belong to the American Psychiatric Society, but I don't practice psychiatry as as much. I am a surgeon. As someone in AA said to me, once upon a time, there is nothing worse than a confused psychiatrist. I will never forget the first meeting that I attended. There were 5 people present, including me. At one end of the table sat our community butcher. At the other side of the table sat one of the carpenters in our community. And at the further end of the table sat the man who ran the bakery, while on one side sat my friend who was a mechanic. I recall as I walked into that meeting saying to myself, here I am, a fellow of the group college, the American College of Surgeons, a fellow of the International College of Surgeons, a diplomat of one or of the great specialty boards in these United States, and members of the American Psychiatric Society, and I have to go to the butcher, the baker, and the carpenter to help make a man out of me. Something else happened to me. This was such a new thought that I got all sorts of books and higher power, and I put a Bible by my bedside, and I put a Bible in my car. It is still there, and I put a Bible in my locker at the hospital, and I put a Bible in my desk, and I put a big book by my nightstand, and I put a 12 steps and 12 traditions in my locker at the hospital, and I got books by Emmett Fox, and I got books by God knows who, and I got to reading all these things, and the first thing you know, I was lifted right out of the AA group, and I floated higher and higher and even higher until I was way up on a pink cloud, which is known as Pink 7. And I felt miserable again. So I thought to myself, I might just as well be drunk and feel like this. I went to Clark, the community butcher, and I said, Clark, what is the matter with me? I don't feel right. I have been on this program for 3 months and I feel terrible. And he said, Earl, why don't you come on over and let me talk to you for a minute? So he got me a cup of coffee and a piece of cake and sat me down and said, why, there's nothing wrong with you. You've been sober for 3 months, been working hard. You've been doing all right. But then he said, let me say something to you. We have been here in this community an organization that helps people, and this organization is known as Alcoholics Anonymous. Why don't you join it? Excuse me. I said, what do you think I've been doing? Well, he said, you've been sober, but you've been floating way up on a cloud somewhere. Why don't you go home and get the big book and open it at page 58 and see what it says? So I did. I got the Bible book or got the big book and I read it. And this is what it said. Rarely we have seen a person fail who has thoroughly followed our path. The word thoroughly rang a bell, and then it went on to say, half measures avail us nothing. We stood at the turning point, and the last sentence was, we asked his protection and care with complete abandon. Complete abandon. Half measures availed us nothing. Thoroughly followed our path. Completely give ourselves to this simple program rang in my swelled head. Years earlier, I had gone into psychoanalysis, psychoanalysis to get relief. I spent 5.5 years in psychoanalysis and proceeded to become a drunk. I don't mean that in any sense as a derogatory statement about psychotherapy. It's a very great tool, not too potent, but a real tool. I would do it again. I tried even gimmick that there was to get some peace of mind, but it was not until I was brought to my alcoholic knees when I was brought to a group in my own community with the butcher, the baker, the carpenter, and the mechanic who were able to give me the 12 steps that I was finally given some semblance of an answer to the last half of the first step. So after taking the first half of the first step and very gingerly admitting myself to Alcoholics Anonymous, something happened. And then I thought to myself, imagine an alcoholic admitting anything, but I made my admission just the same. Just a minute, guys, sorry. The third step said, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood Him. Now they asked us to make a decision. We've got to turn the whole business over to some joker we can't even see. And this jokes the alcoholic. Here he is powerless, unmanageable, in the grip of something bigger than he is. And he's got to turn the whole business over to someone else. It fills the alcoholic with rage. We are great people. We can handle anything. And so one gets to thinking to oneself, who is this God? Who is this fellow we are supposed to turn everything over to? What can he do for us that we can't do for ourselves? Well, I don't know who he is, but I've got my own idea. For myself, I have an absolute proof of the existence of God. I was over sitting in my office one time after I had operated on a woman. It had been a long 4 or 5 hour operation, a large surgical procedure, and she was on her ninth or 10th post-operative day. She was doing fine, she was up and around, but that day her husband phoned me and said, Doctor, thanks very much for curing my wife. And I thanked him for his felicitation. And he hung up. And then I scratched my head and said to myself, what a fantastic thing for a man to say, that I cured his wife. Here I am down at my office behind my desk, and there is out at the hospital. I am not even there, and if I was there, the only thing I could do would be to give her moral support, and yet he thanks me for curing his wife. I thought to myself, what is curing that woman? Yes, I put in those stitches. The great boss has given me diagnostic and surgical talent, and he has loaned it to me to use for the rest of my life. It doesn't belong to me. He has loaned it to me, and I did my job, but that ended 9 days ago. What healed those tissues that I closed, I didn't. This to me is the proof of the existence of somethingness greater than myself, or greater than I am. I couldn't practice medicine without the great physician. All I do in a very simple way is to help him cure my patients. Shortly after I was starting to work on the program, I realized that I was not a good father. I wasn't a good husband, but oh, I was a good provider. I never robbed my family of anything. I gave them everything except the greatest thing in the world, and that is peace of mind. So I went to my wife and I asked her if there wasn't something that she and I could do to somehow get together, and she turned on her heel and looked me squarely in the eye and said, "You don't care anything about my problem." And I could have smacked her, but I said to myself, grab on to your serenity. She left and I sat down and crossed my hands and looked up and said, for God's sake, help me. And then a silly, simple thought came to me. I didn't know anything about being a father. I didn't know how to come home and work weekends like other husbands. I didn't know how to entertain my family. But I remembered that every night after dinner, my wife would get up and do the dishes. Well, I could do the dishes. I want in my whole life. Sorry, skip some. Well, I could do the dishes. So I went to her and said, there's only one thing I want in my whole life, and I don't want any accommodation. I don't want any credit. I don't want anything from you or Janie for the rest of your life, except one thing, and that is the opportunity to do anything you want always. And I would like to start off by doing the dishes. And now I am doing the darn dishes every night. Doctors have been notoriously unsuccessful in helping alcoholics. They have contributed fantastic amounts of time and work to our problem, but they aren't able, it seems, to arrest either your alcoholism or mine. And the clergy have tried hard to help us, but we haven't been helped. And the psychiatrist has had thousands of couches and has put you and me on them many, many times. But he hasn't helped us very much, though he has tried hard. And we owe the clergy and the doctor and the psychiatrist a deep debt of gratitude. But they haven't helped our alcoholism except in a rare few instances. But Alcoholics Anonymous has helped. What is the power that AA possesses? This curative power, I don't know what it is. I suppose the doctor might say this is a psycho- psychosomatic medicine. I suppose the psychiatrist might say this is a benevolent, benevolent interpersonal relation. I suppose others would say this group psychotherapy. To me, it's God. So AA doesn't have a race. The higher power doesn't have a race. You don't, or not a race, but I mean, it doesn't have to be any particular thing or any particular person. And yeah, sometimes we can't see that higher power. Me personally, a lot of my time that I call upon my higher power is those days where I feel like I can't go on. Like I need something to ground me and keep me being humble and kind. And when I get irritated and I start to spout off about something, I then automatically go to say, I need the higher power to help me to get through this. I need my higher power to listen, to help me figure the way to cope with my issues. And without being able to do that, we don't really fully get the feeling that we are free from it or that we can make it through that trouble time. Um, like for me, yeah, it is like it said, uh, you want to be uh, giving your troubles to somebody that can help you get through it, and you can go to psychotherapy, go to therapists. It's all great. All those people are wonderful help. But unless if they have been through the alcoholic part of life, like we have or are right now, I'm still sober, but there might be a still suffering here. Um, there are ways that we can work a program that's free. You get wonderful support. Um, you're not the only one going through it. And having that group connection is a great thing because you have that person that you can relate to on all levels. And like me, I have two sponsors that I can contact and say, hey, I'm feeling this way. What can I do? What should I do? And usually they will know exactly what to say. But one sponsor has 12 years and one sponsor has like 30 years or more. So, yes, I have sponsors that are like completely different sobriety length or sobriety time, but they both help me in different ways. So, like, they don't say the same things. And I know if one isn't sure, then I can ask the other. And another thing, I have sponsees. I have like one, two, three, 4 or 5 sponsees that I help. And for me, going through and I'm helping people here and on Facebook. But the first step, I have to agree, is the first one that you have to accept the second part of is definitely how it says. And like for me, when I started AA, I found out a friend of mine had invited me to a meeting. I hadn't seen this person in many, many years, so I didn't know he was an alcoholic. And so he said, well, we could go to a meeting, an AA meeting. I was like, I don't know. And so I swallowed my pride. I'd been sober for a while. And I was like, all right, I'll meet you there. And so I met him there. And I was there for the whole meeting and I didn't talk. I don't remember if I said I'm Sandra, I'm an alcoholic or anything for the first like couple of months. But as I grew into the AA world, into the fellowship, it became aware to me that they offer something that you don't expect. But my first meeting, I was like, all right, I really want to go again, and so um, I called people on the females list because they gave me a list of females phone numbers, and so I called 3. The person that answered the third person I called answered her phone, and she became my first sponsor. And she is still my sponsor. I love her to bits. She is a wonderful lady. Um, but that's how I got my sponsor, and that was before I even knew anything about getting a sponsor. And so, um, but yeah, she's my sponsor still to this day, and I love her so much. And my first year of being sober, I got a job. I did that job for a full season, and then winter came, and so we were still there during the winter because my husband worked there for the winter, and I came back the next year, but then we quit, and then about a year or 6 months to a year later, we went back to work for them, and so yeah, and then here I am now. Um, the 15th is my sobriety date of 2014, and I will be 9 this coming couple weeks. 9 years sobriety. I'm super proud of myself. I'm super proud of the people that have become sober with me, and I help with sobriety. Um, Gosh, it has been a blessing, a wonderful blessing to have the fellowship to turn to and to be part of. And YouTube and Facebook have become my platforms. As you all can tell, AA is my passion because I have found a better life. I'm not perfect by any means. I still have my bad days. I'm still grouchy. I'm still me. But the only thing is I'm not reliant upon alcohol to make me feel any sort of way or hide any sort of feelings. My feelings are true and authentic. Um, and I am happy to be able to be here to share a gift to you that I got for free. I share it for free. I don't ask for any help with anything here on this part of my platforms at all. I do have a GoFundMe for my adventures part of my channel, but that is totally separate. Yes, it's smooshed together, but that is still a separate thing. So, um, but I do have that also. So, I go live on Mondays, or not on Mondays, but Tuesday mornings at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I go live Wednesday mornings at 7:15 Pacific Standard Time. And then I go live again on Saturdays at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And Tuesday and Saturdays are my AA days. And I do upload adventure videos. So, and of course, videos of my crazy dog that likes to make everyone laugh. Hi, Gia. Thank you for coming. I'm good today. How about you? Yes, Lily, support groups help, and that is what AA has also taught me. Yes, and some people have to go through detox. Like my first time when I quit drinking, I probably should have gone to a detox, like, a sobriety living place for a little while. But the second time I did okay. I didn't really have all the issues of the what do you call it? Anyways, I forgot what it's called. Withdrawals. There it is. I didn't have the withdrawals on the second time I quit drinking, which was 9 years ago. But I also know that if I had not found AA, I would not be sober now, probably. Or I would be and not changed my thinking process and all of that. So yeah, it's helped tremendously. Withdrawals, yeah, they're not fun. I was doing that from cigarettes too, just last month. So I went 3 days without cigarettes and I had the shakes and I was like not in a good space. So I went back to smoking, but I'm back on the meds to quit. So next week is my last week of cigarettes and pray it's for the rest of my life because emphysema and cancer suck. And I have emphysema. So, and yeah, cigarettes suck. Yeah. Uh, but anyways, I'm gonna say the Serenity prayer for the Facebook side, and then I will come back over here and say the Serenity Prayer over here and read the daily reflections. I will post the daily reflections on my page on Facebook. So just be ready for it because I will post it right after I read it to YouTube. So I love you guys and thank you for your support. And I'll be right back, YouTube side, just a minute. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. Just all of a sudden my screen went black. All right, anyways, to today's reflection. So I have 8 years, 11 months, and 20 days, or 3,276 days. What time is it there, Gia? Okay, so today is November 4th, 2023. Today's stop. Today's daily reflection is when they no when they self examination, meditation, and prayer are logically related and interwoven. The result is an unshakable foundation for life. 12 Steps and 12 Traditions, page 98. Oh, wow, it's 11 p.m. Wow. The last three steps of the program invoke God's loving discipline upon my willful nature. If I devote just a few moments every night to a review of highlights of my day, along with an acknowledgement of those aspects that didn't please me so much, I gain a personal history of myself, one that is essential to my journey into self-discovery. I was able to note my growth or lack of it, and to ask in prayer meditation to be relieved of those continuing shortcomings that cause me pain. Meditation and prayer also teach me the art of focusing and listening. I find that the turmoil of the day gets turned out as I pray for His will and guidance. The practice of asking Him to help me is my strivings for perfection, puts a new slant on the kingdom of any day, because I know there is honor in any job done well. The daily discipline of prayer and meditation will keep me in fit spiritual condition, able to face whatever the day brings without the thought of a drink. And that is true, very true. So I hope you guys had a great time being here, um, talking and listening to the story. If you're watching the replay, thank you for watching, and please subscribe and share and leave comments. And if you don't want anybody to know that you were watching, just hit the like button, and subscribe. That is all I could ask for. Um, oh, it's rough sleeping tonight. I don't like those nights. I had a night like that last night. I had to do my sleep study thing. So, yeah, I don't know if I did it right, because the piece that you put in your nose came out in the middle of the night. So, I don't know. And it was supposed to measure my breathing. So, we shall find out. I'm sorry you're sleeping on the street, Gia. That's not good. But please be safe, and I'll keep you in my prayers. But anyways, I'm gonna say serenity prayer. I hope you guys have a wonderful day, And stay positive, keep going, one foot in front of the other, even if it's just baby steps. Baby steps are still moving forward. And please always remember the past is in the past. Um, we can move forward because we can't fix the past. So we have to just keep going forward. And the view out the rearview mirror is quite small. And the one I'm watching is the one in the windshield because it's a lot bigger. So I love you guys, and I hope you have a wonderful day, evening, night. Um, I love you guys. Be safe out there. Be kind. And keep sober. It's worth it. You are worth it. Very worth it. Love you guys.